Good afternoon, gang. I hope the message finds everybody well, and welcome back to the Built for Pressure podcast with me, Will Foden. I hope we're all good and locked and loaded. This January seems to be running away with us, and today, on today's podcast, what we're going to be going over is my biggest mistakes from a leadership and business standpoint. A lot of the time when you're working for, whether you're working for yourself, working with other people, or you're working on yourself, a lot of the time what most people associate it are finite pieces of information. But today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of frameworks that I've learned from, some pieces of the puzzle for you to go look at, and vice versa. I'll give you a bit of game plan at the end that's actually going to help you figure out the bottlenecks within inside your performance and then move from there. So what the biggest stigma and something that I would love to get across over this is that actually what most people do when they talk about the leadership space is they talk about other people. They talk about teams, they talk about culture, they talk about someone else, they talk about problems inside the workplace, all this jazz. What we're going to go over is actually you. Self-led leadership, for me, is by far the biggest power play in any business owner's army that they have. Reason why. What most people associate is they let the world happen to them and they're reactive. Where self-led leadership, taking responsibility and ownership of your current position, is not only going to give you the keys of your car back, but help you rise to challenge. It's going to help you actually deal with chaos, and more to the point, deal with human behaviour, which is a mucky grey area, which if you're operating in the same spaces of me, or you're working with multiple different people or in totally different cultures, you will know that actually you need to be a chameleon. And the more self-critical of yourself and your performance, with the opportunity to coach yourself, that's an absolute game changer. So for me, something that happened very early on within my sporting career that actually parried off into my business for a long period of time was actually being way too emotional. Those that have talked about this before, what we're looking at is the amygdala part of your brain, the primitive side of your brain, which is there to protect you and there to fight or flight, freeze. And for me, as an athlete, it was something that I massively could have worked on. When I was a professional rugby player, semi-pro rugby player, I was a very emotional and violent man. Not off the pitch, on the pitch. Why? Lots of pieces of the puzzle, but more to the point, I was trying to prove a point. This for a long time carried over into my business, because what happened there is emotional decision making is reactive, and the issue with it is it telling the truth. You'll see the world through your emotions first. All your experiences, everything you've ever been through is there to protect you. If you don't understand that it's there to protect you, how could you then know? You need to figure out ways of understanding of when is this telling me the truth. Also, it comes down from an acceptance piece. A lot of the time when I see with other business leaders, and me included, is this inevitable stress management piece of running away from stress. This year in 2025, we're building out workshops for Built for Pressure that are actually going to show you around stress management and stress inoculation. There's a very big difference. But also amalgamating them so that they can actually utilize them inside your performance, compared to this effervescent, I'm trying to get away from pressure, I'm trying to get away from stress. The 95% of your life will be stressful. It's how you show up and deal with it is the most important piece of the puzzle. Because for me, as a business owner, when I have been emotional, I have felt the most dysregulated inside my business ever. I felt so reactive, and I felt like everything's imploding. And the 3 points that we're going to be going over, actually, they're quite intertwined, and you'll soon see why. Because another piece of this puzzle, number two, apart from being emotional, what I found and what I've struggled with is actually growth is not linear. If you're a solopreneur, if you're bootstrapping a business, if you've grown a small team of 10 to 30, or you've grown a team to 100 to 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. The understanding of there's going to be levels to your game, and that growth isn't linear means that actually there's going to be a point of the puzzle where it's around personal development, and then it's around professional development, and then actually that encompasses how you elevate and scale your business is a mixture of both of them. The understanding that there's new levels, new devils, and what got you here is not going to get you there is imperative. Old keys will not open new doors. And something that I learned massively 2 years ago was that we went through huge evolutions inside my business. And those that know what we do, we run 3 programs. We run an athletic performance program, a leadership development program, and a business performance program. Those 3 things encompass very similar traits, but in different spheres. And what I did with my first year is I had so many opportunities. I said yes to all of them. And I felt like I was being steamrolled by a train the whole time. The reason why is because I had no structure, strategy, and I couldn't operate at the frequency needed to take that all on. Now, when I took a step back and I realized that I was at the Stage Strong Collective was operating on all this stuff, and I didn't understand what was going on. And instead of the first 6 months, I went attack mode like I usually do, using my emotional part of my brain, and kept going forward, and taking lots of steps back and still trying. Instead, calming down, seeking some personal development, some help, realigning what I actually truly wanted out of my business, and actually had acceptance of actually this is what I do, this is how I help, these are the people I don't help. Just to give you a clear idea as well, if you operate a business you don't know who you don't help, trust me, that's a massive game changer. Then in that position, you're going to be in a position not only to feel like you're winning, but also to become. Because I know exactly where I am, I know what I'm trying to do, and I also understand what frequency I'm trying to do. Yeah. So what most people don't associate when it comes down to achievement is that they associate more is more. Now, when you're looking at it from a growth standpoint, more definitely is not more. Because if you try and add more processes into something that isn't ready for it, that's where you're going to struggle, and you're going to feel that from a systemic stress standpoint, i.e. allosteric load means environmental stress. And if you're continually just being stressed the whole time, what's going to happen is that it's going to carry over into different parts of your life. Because actually, the last point of this, and something that I found was massively, massively helpful for me to understand, and a bottleneck with inside my mistakes that I was making with inside my business, was, am I taking this personally? Am I taking this professionally? I work in a service-based industry. I'm going to talk mainly about what I do now, just you guys can take the lessons from me and you can use them inside your process. I work in a service-based industry. I work business to business. I work with business to general population who are trying to get athletic performance as a blanket cover of their health and well-being. People leaving, is it personal or professional? People making decisions against your business, is it personal or professional? You working inside your business and you being a weapon inside your business, are you taking it personally or professionally? Something that's massively prevalent of understanding that has given me huge amount of bandwidth purely on the basis of I can shut my work away if I want to, and I don't. Double-edged sword. Most people associate their business with them, i.e. athletes. You all know this. If someone asks you who you are, what do you say? I'm a rugby player. I said that for a very long period of time. And then I realised actually no, I was no longer a rugby player anymore. And then I was thinking, who the fuck am I? Then it was a case of I'm a coach. And then it was, I'm a human performance consultant. And then I'm a leadership development consultant. And then it's never ending. Where actually, identity is I'm Will Foden. I'm a dad, a husband, a son, an athlete, a business owner, a leader, sometimes a legend, sometimes a wanker. It is what it is. My point is your business is not you, and you are not your business. The minute you can step away from that, it gives you the keys back to your car in relation to how you drive it, when you drive it, what you do with it, and how you do with it. What most people do is they put it all into one basket, and hence why they struggle, because they take it personally instead of being objective. The killer's instinct inside business is about understanding your metrics and understanding what they actually mean from actions. That's the key thing. What most people do is they especially if they're working in my sphere when I'm working with people, is because they get too friendly with people and they're on too many people's journeys of them, they get so friendly that actually if they do leave, they take that personally instead of being objective. Another piece that I encountered as well is you see with inside, as a coach, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, and actually most of your work is stemmed from the amount of courses that you've done, and also who you've worked alongside and been mentored by, and just sort of watched it from afar, because all the principles haven't changed. The marketing's changed. You standing on the shoulders of giants means that actually what you think is you think other people are copying you, for example, or they're copying your social media or whatever. Here's another frame for you, and something that I found was really, really helpful, is what if that person wasn't copying you? What if that person saw your success and saw that when they wanted to actually be in your shoes and operate at your frequency, and they saw that as the road? I've actually personally had this. I've had someone do this with our social media. It doesn't bother me. I don't give a fuck what's going on in that respect, because I've got too many things on my plate. But my point being is that I know some people get so arsey over little details like doing the same thing or wearing the same clothes, whatever it is. But actually, why don't you flip it on its head and find balance? Because again, I've maybe got a bit of tangent there about identity, but something that I found is when I was for people that are trying to blend in, knowing who you are, what you do, and why you do it's imperative. So, back to that point, those three biggest mistakes of me with inside my business and my leadership skills of being too emotional, thinking that growth is linear, and actually feeling like I am my business. Because just another point I want to distinguish here is you will never, if you're a high achieving individual, or someone who's driven or somebody who wants to perform at their best, you'll never feel like you're complete. You'll always feel broken because you're wired to look for the next 1%. It's very, very normal to be in that position. We're from a brain physiology standpoint, we're wired to try and find the next piece. We're not wired to just be acceptance of where we are and what we're doing. We're looking to get better. So here's my ticket for you to help you get better and to find that next 1%. In the show notes, I've linked our Built for Pressure stress test. This stress test will allow you to understand what parts of your game are the weak links within inside your performance. Whether physically, from an athletic standpoint, you're not operating at the frequency needed for you to be able to make better decisions or be within the human optimization realm, or from a leadership standpoint and mental capacity standpoint, is it your mindset that's letting you down? Lastly, is it your business and leadership acumen? We've got a test that's 2 minutes long that's going to give you all the trainings that I've put loads of our in-person and also our in-house trainings in there on purpose. Why? Because the mission's bigger than me. There are so many people out there who are wired like me that are currently 5 years behind me in relation to the development of that. My goal is to take everything that I know, place it into this vessel, and give people the keys to their car back of their business, their livelihood, also their performance, because you're never going to complete this game. You're only going to want to get better. You're only going to want to climb the ladder more. And when is it ever going to stop? It's not. But the more self-aware I can help you get, the better positions I can put you in. And lastly, giving you the education, the understanding of what's going on actually within your biological process, a physiological process too, is then going to give us the premise and understanding of what it's going to take for you to actually unlock new levels of performance within inside your business, with your leadership skills, and also your personal performance too. Anyway, I digress. Short, quick episode. I hope everybody's well. I hope everyone, as we say where I'm from, is getting after it on Monday. And like I said, had a big start to the year. If you haven't had a big start of the year, please stay tuned. We've got some new cool stuff incoming. No like and share as per usual if you know anybody that would benefit from this podcast. And I'll catch you guys soon.